What's good? It's your boy 2K here, and I'm back in the fucking building. Shout out to the movement and everybody who's moving with us. For this one, I want to talk about the 138-pound rehydration clause that Guillermo Rigondeaux was able to successfully obtain ahead of his December 9th bout against WBO 130-pound champion Vasyl Lomachenko, and particularly why this achievement isn't really that big of a deal. Now, before you motherfuckers go on my comment section talking about, ooh, god damn it, 2K, it's a fucking achievement. Yo, when cats be getting mad at me, you know I got a lot of niggas that hate me, which that's normal, you know what I'm saying? I've dealt with that throughout life. And I told y'all cats, man, when I created this channel, you either gonna love me or you gonna hate me. There is no in between. So I got a lot of cats that hate me. And when y'all come in my comment section or y'all comment on my posts and y'all be saying shit trying to get at me, that's how I envision y'all motherfuckers talking. Real talk. Ooh! Y'all niggas sit in the crib looking at your phone or your computer doing that shit, yo. But hear me out. Styles make fights. That is a phrase that rings so fucking true in the sport of boxing. And I really hate using that phrase because it has become somewhat of a Kickstarter for these dumbass casual fans who pose as boxing enthusiasts. They use that as a Kickstarter to precede something that they getting ready to say that's probably the dumbest shit that I've ever heard in my fucking life. You know what I'm saying? Hence why I have my own segment, Social Media's Dumbest Boxing Posts. You know? But that's why I hate using that phrase. You know what I'm saying? But in this situation, it is absolutely 100% true, and it's going to prove my point. See, when a fighter likes to use his size to rehydrate, and I talked about this in my weight bullying video. I'll put the link to the video in the description box. But typically when a guy rehydrates to an exorbitant amount of weight, it's because he's trying to do a few things. He could be trying to eliminate the shock of a punch from a big puncher, a la Daniel Jacobs versus Triple G. That's why Daniel Jacobs came in the ring 175 pounds by his own admission. And in my opinion, it's because he wanted to absorb the shock from the shots that Triple G delivers, right? That's what weight will do for you. Now, don't get it twisted. It doesn't make your chin better, right? It just absorbs the shock. It's kind of equivalent to the neck exercises that Floyd Mayweather used to do in his training camps. If you go back and watch some of his 24/7 episodes, he'll have a contraption over the top of his head with a weight hanging off of it, and he'll be moving his neck in a vertical motion, up and down, up and down. That's in order for him to stiffen his neck so he can absorb the shock value from hard shots. Gaining exorbitant amount of weights will do that same thing for you when you rehydrate. Also, another thing that people do it for is so that they can impose their will on smaller fighters, given their style. If you have a style like a Denis Shafikov, a style like Sean Porter, right? A style like Ruslan Provodnikov, those guys will benefit rehydrating to large amounts of weights on fight night, because their style is to impose their will on their opponent, right? Their style is to bully their opponent. Vasyl Lomachenko doesn't have that style, okay? Also, in my opinion, the way Vasyl Lomachenko fights, he doesn't get hit that often. He does get hit, but he's been hit by guys, in my opinion, that hit very hard in the division. For example, Miguel Mariaga, right? A lot of guys don't really hit Vasyl Lomachenko flush. Now, again, we can resort to the competition he's fought, but at the same time, guys have not hit him flush 100% of the time. So I don't think that him rehydrating to 140, 145 is because he's afraid to absorb a hard shot from Guillermo Rigondeaux, who's really a 118 pounder. If you look at the weight that he fought in the amateurs, he fought at 119 pounds. That's bantamweight in the amateurs. When he got to the pros, he moved up to super bantamweight, which is 122, obviously, right? So he's actually naturally smaller than 122, and he's moving to 130. So I don't think Lomachenko is really worried about that. Also, given his style, he's not going to impose his will on Guillermo Rigondeaux. Actually, if he tried to switch up his style and do that, that would be detrimental to him. If you're just gonna come forward and stand directly in front of Guillermo Rigondeaux, you're gonna get countered all fucking night. Ass no nido don there. You know what I'm saying? Vasyl Lomachenko's style is he's a slickster, right? He uses a lot of movement. He throws a lot of angles at you. He likes to pivot. So much so he can end up behind his opponent, right? Also, his offensive attack is comprised of high volume. Not a lot of shots that put motherfuckers in comas like Deontay Wilder does. Now, he does have pop on his shots. And besides the fact that he has his high-tech, high-volume type of offensive attack, right? Besides the fact of that, the pop that he has on his shots, it keeps a lot of the opponents weary to throw back. You know what I'm saying? It keeps them honest. But he needs to fight like that in order to beat Guillermo Rigondeaux, in my opinion. Actually, Vasyl Lomachenko will have to move more than he's ever moved before in this fight. Because in my opinion, Guillermo Rigondeaux has the footwork to be able to enter the spots that Vasyl Lomachenko leaves when he gives angles. That's one thing I have yet to see any fighter do against Vasyl Lomachenko. The only thing that I've seen a fighter do is bully him. Of course, that was Orlando Salido. Gary Russell tried to do that, but Gary Russell is not known for having this excellent footwork. He's more known for having excellent hand speed. He tried to get into those spots that Vasyl Lomachenko would leave, and that would make it to where Vasyl is not able to see his opponent in front of him, right? You would end up kind of on the side of Vasyl Lomachenko, and you could possibly exploit an opening in doing that. He tried to do it. He was successful at certain times, but his reaction time wasn't fast enough, right? Guillermo Rigondeaux's his reaction time is excellent, footwork excellent, right? So he's going to be able to enter those spots and be able to counter Vasyl Lomachenko as he tries to pivot or as he tries to give angles. He's going to be able to do that. So the remedy to that for Lomachenko is to not stay in the pocket as long as he normally does. He's going to have to keep rotating. And man, I'm getting into a motherfucking breakdown. I'm trying not to, but you know, this is what I do, you know. But he's going to have to keep rotating. And with him being, in my opinion, with him having to move so much, being the bigger guy is not going to benefit him at all. And I've seen, you know, a lot of people say that the reason why Vasyl Lomachenko beats Guillermo Rigondeaux is because he's naturally the bigger guy, and that's a false opinion in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? If you really know how to break down styles, break down fights, analyze exactly what you're watching, you go back and watch Vasyl Lomachenko, you'll know that being the bigger guy has nothing to do with his style. So while I guess it's good that Top Rank, Aegis Klimas, Vasyl Lomachenko, and everybody else that comprises his particular team, I guess it's good that they were able to bend at least one requirement, you know what I'm saying, that Guillermo Rigondeaux would want. Because let's face it, this motherfucker's putting all the marbles on the table for this fight. You know, it's a guy who's been blackballed in the sport of boxing, and I'm getting ready to do a video that's going to be titled "The Tragedy That Is Guillermo Rigondeaux," something to that effect, right? He's been blackballed in the sport of boxing after winning his biggest win of his career, a fighter who was the previous year's fighter of the year, a fighter who was top 5 pound for pound when he got in the ring with him, and undefeated, right? After beating that guy, his career took a nosedive because he was blackballed. This is a guy that people don't want to see win. You know what I'm saying? And he's putting a lot on the table, because if he loses this fight, it will be the end of Guillermo Rigondeaux, especially given his age, right? So it's good that Vasyl Lomachenko's team was able to bend at some requirement in order to get this fight made and to make both parties happy. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, in my opinion, given Vasyl Lomachenko's style, it's not that big of an achievement. It's really not something to celebrate. You know, this fight is going to be based off of skill, and it's going to be more so based off of the IQ factor, right? Who's the smarter fighter? I've already said plenty of times that I believe Vasyl Lomachenko is similar to Roy Jones Jr. Not in terms of stylistically, but in terms of how he relies on his athleticism much more than he relies on his IQ. This fight is going to be a big test for Vasyl Lomachenko in determining whether or not he is indeed one of the smartest fighters in boxing. A lot of people already think that. I beg to differ. But this fight is going to tell me a lot, because Guillermo Rigondeaux is absolutely 100%, no fucking argument from anybody, one of the smartest fighters in the sport, if not the smartest fighter in the sport, with Andre Ward's absence, right? So that's what this fight is really going to be based on. Skill, probably about 30%, the other 70% IQ. That ain't got shit to do with how big Vasyl Lomachenko is on fight night. YouTube, do what you do in the comment section. Let me know what you think about this topic. But be real. This is real talk for real fans. 1.